wanted to do this because I was originally going to have a regular coffee with a cop where we'd come in and say hi and shake hands and all that kind of stuff. And obviously that's not something anybody wants to do right now. Sitting here in my office, I'm trying to figure out it, because one of the things I like best is talking with people in the community. And I've been doing a lot of these Zoom meetings for work, so I figured we'd try this. Even if we can just talk to a few people, get a few questions answered, I figure it's better than nothing. So you sent me Christina, you sent me a few questions that you got via email from folks. And then I'll answer a few things that people may have questions about. And then if anybody else has any other questions, we can go from there. So the first one, and probably on a lot of people's minds, is what role do the police have in enforcing Governor Inslee's stay-at-home order? For us, for the City of Newcastle Police Department, we're part of the King County Sheriff's Office, for those folks who didn't know. So we're all King County Sheriff's Office deputies, and we abide by their policies and procedures. The current policy for the Sheriff's Office on large gatherings and that sort of stuff is for the individuals, like you see people in the park or people out walking around and there's, a group of them or something like that. The governor has asked for folks to call the police department's non-emergency line and report those sort of things. And for us, for the Sheriff's Office for the City of Newcastle, that's 206-296-3311. And you can call and report those violations. What happens from there is going to really depend on what sort of information you give us. Our current policy, as far as making contact with folks, is that we're going to take more of a educational rather than enforcement sort of action. What that means is and it's highly likely that we won't even be dispatched to those reports, with kids in the park or people out in their yards or whatever it is that people are calling to report about. And the reason for that is it's a risk versus reward sort of thing. And with this disease, this pandemic that's going on, it's being spread by contact. So us going and enforcing an order like that, and it's more of a public health order than it is a legal sort of binding people go to jail sort of thing. We'll work with King County Department of Public Health if they have some issues or want us to go with them to make contact with folks and levy fines and that sort of stuff. But we're not going to go to parks and rip kids off the swing set or tell people to get out of the parks, remove people like that. We may, if we see it, go and, I don't know, publicly shame them is a great way to term it, but try and convince them that maybe they should, we're all going stir crazy. Maybe we should all go inside. And we encourage people to get out and get some fresh air, get away from each other, because houses can get small and people can get tired of each other, and then that's going to lead to 911 calls and that sort of stuff. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But we're not going to go and tell people they have to get out of the park. We're going to go educate people and ask them to. We're going to ask them to move along if we are dispatched to that sort of stuff. And then as far as businesses, non-essential businesses, that's all being handled by the State's Attorney General's office. Off the top of my head, I don't know the website, but if you type in Washington COVID response, or actually I think it's coronavirus us.wa.gov, something like that. If you type that in on a Google search, it'll give you a link to what you should do if you know of a business that's violating the stay-at-home order. So I don't know if that answers all the questions. If there's more, feel free to type them in and I'll get to it. Another question, there's three, and that kind of, I think, I hopefully answered two of them. Another one was asking how we're doing, if we need anything, and if there's anything that the community can help. We're doing fine. Like I said, we're part of the sheriff's office. Nobody currently that works in the city of Newcastle has had any issues. We had one officer get sick. He stayed home and quarantined himself and got a test, and everything was negative. And then the rest of our folks are doing fine. We are working with the PPE that we have. I went to Lowe's today and bought a bunch of duct tape to help seal up our Tyvek suits that we have if we need to go make contact with folks. And you know, we'd rather see some of the hospitals and stuff like that get if people have masks. We had a gentleman that stopped one of our officers on the street the other day. He had like 5 or 6 of those N95 masks that everybody's hearing about now, and he gave them to us to, you know, let us to help the police department out, and we've got sufficient supplies for the amount of contact we have with these folks. So we just took those, I think 6 of them, down to Harborview Hospital, and we'd rather have those folks get that stuff. Hospitals and clinics and stuff like that get those sort of things. People are asking us about food, if we need food. We've had plenty of local restaurants offer us stuff, and while we appreciate it, if they're willing to do that, I'd rather have them donate to doctors and nurses and that sort of stuff that are really working themselves around the clock right now. Just a little bit about what we're doing. Like I said earlier, we're taking a risk-reward approach, to police work. So we're not out there as much as we typically are, pulling people over for traffic violations, running stop signs, some speeding. There's no school zones right now, so we're not no school zones to enforce. But we still are out there. We're still out driving around, being as visible as we possibly can. We're going in to the stores and trying to make sure everybody's acting politely and acting civilly. I got to referee a fight about toilet paper last week, a new low light in my career. I never thought I'd have to speak to adults about fighting over toilet paper, but so what you could do for us is be civil to each other. Get out and get some fresh air. I don't want people cooped up all the time. That's going to lead to arguments and fights and stuff where we are going to have to come and deal with you and possibly make arrests. Obey the order that the governor put in. If you don't need to drive, if you don't need to go out, you don't. The governor was very clear that going out and getting fresh air and getting a walk is actually encouraged. But like we were talking about earlier, we have seen kids still playing in parks and groups of people in parks, and playing softball at one of the local fields and stuff like that. It's just not. We got to have people stop doing that for now. So to keep everybody safe and healthy. Overall, calls have gone way down over this last month. I just got an email this morning. The city of Newcastle had this same time for March last year. There was all of March. There was 644 911 calls, and this year for the exact same time in March, it was only 457. So the amount of people, amount of 911 calls, amount of work we're seeing is going down. But that we're not closed. We're not. We are considered an essential business, despite what some people wish. So we are out there. We're still here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you do have an issue, please don't hesitate to call either the non-emergency line 206-296-3311, or if it's a true emergency, 911. We had a call the other day about somebody trespassing at one of the apartment complexes in the pool after they had closed it. And while that normally would have generated a police response, currently the stance we're taking, like I was saying, is risk reward. And we're dealing with more life safety issues, where that was a trespassing thing where had this been in February, we would have gone and asked the person to leave. But at this point, we're more concerned about their safety, our safety, their family's safety, their friends' safety, our family's friends, and our family's safety. So unfortunately, we did not go out to that, and that's the policy that we're dealing with right now. Things are changing on a daily basis. I hope soon it will get back to actually going out and being able to contact those people, because I don't like having to tell people we're not coming. And it's not something that any police officer ever wants to do, is say we're not going to come to that. That's not. It's not that it's not important. It's just that, again, we're weighing the risk versus the reward at this point. So I don't have a lot of work. We are doing some other things. We're asking people to either they can fill the reports out online, reporttosheriff.org. That's specifically for the King County Sheriff's Office. And they're also given the option to, when they call 911 or the non-emergency number, to have their report taken online or taken over the phone. We've also set up a Dropbox for any evidence that folks may have, as far as like pictures or video or audio that you can upload that we would give to you at the time of the report, either on the phone or something like that. So we still want people to call 911 if they need to. We don't want people to think that we're going to come out and get right up in their face or anything like that. We want to be just as safe as we want to keep you. So please don't think that if something happens right now, we're not going to come, or that we don't want to hear about it. We do want to still hear about it. We do still want to try and investigate it. We just want to do it as safely as we possibly can. So I'm going to try and figure out how to use this chat feature on the side here. Oh yeah, Christina, it looks like she put up the thing about how to report businesses. And I don't know of any in the city of Newcastle that have been violating that. So I think everybody here seems to be doing well and staying within the bounds that they're supposed to. So I'm not seeing any questions.
There's a couple of questions. If you click the Q&A button, there's a couple of questions from.
The problem with this is, yeah, see, I told you folks, if you tuned in, you'd see some comedy here. My computer is a laptop, and I've got the laptop open, and it won't let me go over to the screen.
Okay, I can read them for
so
you.
I know everybody wants to see my charming face, so I'd have to close my laptop and ruin it for everybody, and everybody would probably just leave. So yeah, if you could read them to me, that'd be great.
So Mayor Newing, it's not really a question, but she had a comment. She says, "Good morning. Thank you for doing this. I need to go to another meeting, but she wanted to say hello."
All right.
The next question we have from an anonymous attendee is, what color belt are you wearing?
Well, I am known for my high fashion, but since I'm here as one of the people that would respond to 911 calls today, I'm just wearing a plain black belt. I know that's going to disappoint whoever asked that question, but just a plain black one. It's got Velcro on it though, so I can hang all sorts of cool stuff from it. But other than that, no pink ones or purple ones for me today. So I hate to disappoint whoever that is, although I bet I can guess.
And then finally, Ben G just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Ben. It's tough for us during this, because most cops are type A personalities where they can't stand being bored and not busy and want to go out and do stuff. And while we all completely understand and agree that going out and pulling people over for running stop signs and that sort of stuff may not, it's not the crime of the century and right now, and it may cause more harm than it does. So you know, we've got to weigh that, all that stuff like I was talking about, and going out and meeting with people and talking with people and chasing after bad guys. We'll still chase after the bad guys, but going out and doing normal police work right now is kind of put on hold, and it's tough for all of us, because I get a little stir crazy for sure. I can only check my email and respond to emails for a certain number of hours per day before I need to go out and drive around. So it's tough.
Nathan Sticks wanted to add, not a question, but a huge thanks for keeping us safe and protected.
You're welcome, Nathan. I appreciate your support for a long time now. So it's our pleasure. We try. We were doing great last year. We did great last year. We had more calls than ever for 911 calls, so we were busy, but we were still able to keep our traffic enforcement way up. Our crime stats were way down, and they're way down. They were way down before this too, for the first part of this year, and I guess one silver lining of this whole thing is that you know, families are getting to know each other more, and hopefully crime is definitely gone down, as I mentioned, less 911 calls and stuff like that. So that's good. But you know, we appreciate any support we get from the community, and we're glad we could be here to help, and we will continue to do so as much as we can through this.
Well, I'm not seeing any other questions on this end.
Okay. Yeah, I just, like I said, I didn't know how this would go. I kind of figured it'd be sort of like this. We'll try it again maybe in a little bit and see, maybe some more questions, maybe some more people will join us. I appreciate it. I'm glad that, I don't know, maybe not everybody's finished the Tiger King yet. In a week or so, they'll be done, and more people will join us. So I'll just encourage everybody to wash their hands at this point, and please feel free to contact me via email on the city website. My email's on there with any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, suggestions. Again, if you had been thinking about what the police need, I got an email during this about, I think Jersey Mike's wants to give us a bunch of subs or something like that. And while I do enjoy a good Jersey Mike sub, I'd rather them send that food to the hardworking nurses and doctors. So we'll see if we can work something out with them, but I appreciate it. And thank you all for joining me. Oh,
hey, we got one more question from Tom.
Chief, I should have been quiet.
Chief, is Alfred E. Newman on your most wanted list?
Yes, that is Alfred behind me. You'll notice, if I can turn right, not look at myself here, you'll notice that my ears may be a little bit larger than the average person's ears, and I've on more than one occasion been compared to Mr. Newman, and that his catchphrase of "what me worry" is, I don't know, I've kind of adopted it. He and I are spirit brothers, I guess. So thanks for noticing. I didn't plan that on purpose. I thought maybe if I sit like this, it would have been better. I could have blocked it, but yeah, me and Alfred are spirit brothers because of our ears, I guess.
All
That's
right.
it.
Any other questions, anybody?
No?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you folks for joining me. If you got any suggestions, comments, questions, any of that, like I said, emails on the city website. Um, tell all your friends and family over the phone, not in person, what a great time this was, and look for the next one. Hopefully in maybe a couple weeks, we'll try it again and see if we can get a few more folks, but appreciate it. And I think I'm going to hang up now.